Hi everyone, the Diablo 4 expansion is coming and I had the chance to play it early. I've been blasting it for 1.5 weeks straight, all day, every day, and I have a lot of things to share. One of those is how the new campaign and leveling works. Now, I can't actually show you any of the campaign spoilers. This is still embargoed until the launch, but there is something quite interesting that comes after the campaign that the devs have already hinted at the campfire chat. So you might have seen my summary or the campfire chat itself, but there are these so-called deeds of a champion that I want to introduce you to. So this is what you can see here right now. This is the introductory quest for that happens after you have finished the Vessel of Hatred campaign, and that is intended to guide you through the end game experience. So you're gonna do various things that are not accessible at the start, or maybe you can do them but there's not really a reason to, because you're just following the big yellow quests along for the campaign story. But then there comes this end game introduction. So effectively what happens here is, you can see, you get this Deeds of a Champion quest, you go there to Kurast, and then you talk to Almost, who's chilling there, and he tells you to go do a stronghold and then also complete a quest line and then complete some dungeons. So effectively, you just kind of go around the world and do everything once a little bit. And then after that, there's also follow-up quests. So after those like strongholds and dungeons, then you're also gonna do something else, like I think an Undercity run. And then it also continues with Whispers, Helltide, and eventually even a Pit tier 20 run. So effectively, you're gonna see all of the different systems once, or most of them at least. There's no Dark Citadel in this, since this is a co-op feature, for example, and not any of those timed events or like seasonal stuff. But you're gonna see like basically what the game is about. So this is just something that is mostly aimed at new players, it seems, or people that have no idea what is all the types of content that exists right now in the game. But what is important to know about it is that it's actually extremely rewarding. So basically what you want to do is, when the game comes out, you want to rush through the campaign as fast as possible if you care about speeding to level 60 and so on. Or you can also watch the cutscenes. But TLDR, you follow the campaign and maybe do your renown on the way in the new zone, since most people will probably have the renown in the other zones. But the new zone, we still have to do renown. You get the skill points, you get the paragon points, and so on. So you kind of try to do that on the side. Good thing is though, renown is much faster to do these days. You only need to get to rank 4, and you also need less points to get there. So that's kind of cool. And then after the campaign, you do those Deeds of a Champion and you get catapulted into basically endgame, into Torment 1 after that, because you end at Pit level 20, and Pit 20 unlocks Torment 1, which is where the endgame actually starts. So you can do some of those activities before that, like the Helltide and the dungeons and so on, but you don't really get anything like of value there, let's say, because ancestral items, for example, only start dropping in Torment's difficulty, and also certain types of content only unlock in Torment difficulty. So this is where you then can get anything in the game that actually is relevant for your character progression. So in my case, you see my character, I was already Paragon 30 at this point, so I was level 60, and then I already get the Paragon levels, and I was kind of late at doing those Deeds of a Champion. So I was, doing too much other stuff, I was exploring too much, and if you just follow the campaign and then do the Deeds of a Champion afterwards, you will probably end up at 60 or very close to it already, just from that by default. And then also comes the renown that you want to do, and so on. So I was doing that, and I had this completed at this point, but I was not aware that these Deeds of a Champion existed, and I kind of wasted quite a bunch of time here trying to level up and just farm like random Helltides when I had like no real objective or something like that. At least for your first character, where you play the campaign, you are forced to play the campaign at least once, then you can skip it on the subsequent characters, but there you can do the Deeds of a Champion, and they are really valuable. And then there's also the Stronghold strategy. So when it comes to leveling up, on the Season 6 PTR, where we played this already with the new difficulty changes and the new progression changes, Stronghold completion is now very rewarding. So I've been also trying this a bit here in the early access, when I was leveling like an Old, for example, and especially for like, future characters. Strongholds are relatively fast to complete. Most of them are just like, 2-3 minutes or something like that, with a bit of like running around. And they give you a lot of XP, even all the way up to, close to level 60. You can get like around a level up, or maybe a little bit less than that. for just like a few minutes of doing a stronghold, which is very valuable. So in this case here, I was mostly focusing on the deeds of a champion, but then for other characters, strongholds are a really good part of the mix. So the idea is usually that you try to get to something like around level 40 or so on an alt, for example, and then complete all of the strongholds in the game, kind of. Now, there are some kind of long strongholds that you can or maybe should skip, especially the new Nahantu strongholds are all relatively long, I'd say. Maybe one of them is not so bad, like the it's called Kichuk stronghold. This is also the one that you also complete here for the Deeds of the Champion. The other two are relatively long though. So you can actually decide to skip some of them and just do like the fast ones. But overall, they're pretty good, I would say. And as another leveling tool, there's also the new Undercity of Kurast. This is something I have previewed on the Campfire chat. And it looks like this. So this is here in Kurast, you open the portal. And this is like a timed like speed run, basically. And it's kind of filled with a lot of density, a lot of elites, which is very nice. So if you just level up and also get some gear on the way, then you can do this. So you see here, there's like a timer and you try to reach the end in those 3 floors. Then there's going to be a boss and you just try to hit all of the rewards that you can on the way. And there's nothing that really slows you down. There's no like loot dropping on the way and these kind of things. So it's a little bit like an extended pit run and there is a lot of enemies going on. So this is also pretty valuable for leveling up. And there's also these tributes that you can get that can give you extra XP. And this is also supposedly like an intended feature for leveling up. So there might be hell tides now that are pretty valuable because there's high density and monsters spawning all the time. And then there's also the Undercity where you can potentially even use those tributes to get even more XP. However, when I tried it, this was not working correctly, I think. And I didn't really get any bonus XP from those things, but I guess this should be fixed for the launch at least. So I know there were some bugs that, especially with the Undercity of Kurast, the rewards were not really properly scaling. So if you enjoy more the mindless grind, just like blast away and have your own instance, just kind of like chain back-to-back the runs, then Kurast Undercity is a really good way to do it. Because first of all, you have the map revealed, you know exactly where to go from the start. You just look at it at the, you know, in the first second of the floor that you enter, and then you just know, okay, I have to go this direction, and then you just kind of blast through it and then finish the boss and do again. There's no cost to entry. You can optionally use those tributes that I mentioned to increase the rewards, and that's about it. So Kurast Undercity is also pretty solid, but I found I was not really able to catch up on the like leveling speed that I could get from, for example, doing strongholds. They were just really good. So to sum this up, for your leveling experience on your first character, you'll do the campaign first and foremost. You'll unlock a mercenary. You're gonna get a bunch of runes there as well, these kind of things. So it's all very nice, and the campaign quests are actually really juicy. And you are forced to do the campaign to then even enter the end game and do all of the activities. So you can't get around it. After the campaign, you do the Deeds of a Champion, which are also really juicy extra value XP quests that introduce everything. So you do like a Helltide, a Pit, and so on, all of them once. And it's like a one-time completion thing as well, I think, that is just very rewarding. And that should get you pretty close to level 60 already, even if you play on low difficulties. So you can actually just choose normal difficulty, blast through the campaign, and not really worry about being too weak or how the build is going and so on. And then worry about getting better gear later once you are level 60 or close to it. And if you are not 60 yet at that point, then you still have the Renown to do. So do the Renown to level 4 in the new zone. That will need like some side quests and some exploration. The good thing is there is no new statues that you care about. There are these tenets of Akarat. They are like the little statues, but they don't actually give anything. They just give renown. So if you find them, you click them. Otherwise, ignore them, I guess. And you just need to get the renown form. And for your alts, this is a bit different because you probably won't play through the campaign again. The campaign is not really a super fast way of leveling. But since you are forced to do it on the first character, you just kind of do it. And those quests are relatively like pushing you through the levels as you go. So the campaign is quite long. And there's many of those like big chunky, like boom, half level, boom, +1 level kind of rewards that you get from the campaign. And later on the Deeds of a Champion. But for alts, you can do a lot of Helltide. You can do the Undercity. And then you can also do Strongholds once you're on a little bit higher level. Why do you want to do it at high level? Well, at least from my impressions, it looks like Strongholds are just really valuable when you are a little bit higher, like level 40, level 50, because they give you like these chunky XP bonuses, and especially at level 50, the leveling does slow down noticeably. So this means that the strongholds just give you like these huge, rewards, and you get like half a level or more from one stronghold, where, usually a level could need like, 15 minutes or something of grinding, and you can just do like 1 or 2 strongholds, boom, and you got it. So this is how that works. In general, you'll probably notice that the leveling difficulties are pretty tough. So they have talked about this. For example, they unlocked Penitent difficulty now at level 1. And I do not recommend anyone to go there. I don't even recommend Expert, honestly. You can try it, but it's not going to be efficient for pretty much any setup. I think this is almost exclusively good for twinks. So if you already have your mythic items in your stash and then you equip them at level 35, or at the very least you have like temper manuals, you have, legendary aspects, and you twink it out as much as you can, then I guess Expert and maybe Penitent would become efficient on really good builds. But realistically, on your first character, you will go in on normal, maybe on hard, and you will mostly get your XP rewards from these like turn-ins from the quests, from the strongholds. They all don't scale with difficulty. The only thing that will scale is just the monster, kill XP, and then stuff like the Whisper Cash rewards, for example. So another little trick might be also to do Whispers at normal difficulty and then switch to Penitent and turn them in. So they actually can transition to the next difficulty, and you can get extra rewards there. So this is something that at least I intend to try, but we have not been able to do this here on the early access client. Also, one last tip for the leveling up experience is you should really be careful with your materials. Like, at least when we played, materials were pretty scarce, imprinting and tempering was pretty tough. You were just kind of like poor basically on your first character. This was also due to some bugs with the drops apparently, but either way, since you can choose the different difficulties now and you're not really forced to invest much in your character, so just kind of go with the drops that you get. Maybe go for something really important, like if you have like this one big aspect that you need for your build or something like that, you go for like a Codex power and then imprint it on your neck or so. So you can do something like that, but generally I would recommend to save materials as much as possible for when you hit, close to level 60. Because at level 60, the difficulty will actually rise quite a lot, and you will care more about having a powerful character, as you have to go to Torment 1, which is quite a step up from like hard difficulty or expert difficulty, and this is where the game actually starts. So at level 60, you wanna then take those items that you find, take the 750 loot that you have, and then imprint it and temper it and so on. And on the way there, don't really do too much. In any case, that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this video here. I will have a lot more content for Vessel of Hatred, so stay tuned. I'm releasing a lot of stuff in the next coming days. Of course, you're gonna have all of these guides and Spirit 1 guides out as well. And of course, check out Maxwell, where we have been hard at work with many people writing guides, updating guides for Season 6. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed this and see you guys next time.